Hello, I'm Lisa Lord, and in our news tonight, a dip in measles vaccinations, a cause for serious concern. A new illegal dumping site has been discovered. Social media responds to news of lots of Barbadians inquiring about gun licenses. A CARICOM heads of government intercessional meeting gets underway with calls to address violent crime across the region. And in sports, the Windies are looking to take an unassailable lead when they take on England tomorrow in the 4th ODI.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC News Night, starting now.
Well, let's get straight to our big story, and we're hearing that fewer Barbadians are taking their children to be vaccinated, and that could be problematic with an international resurgence of measles. Our Shane Jones joins us live now from the News Center. Good evening, Shane.
Hi, good evening, Lisa, and you are absolutely correct. Now, what is happening is extremely worrying for the Ministry of Health. Actually, I sat down with Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George today, and he told me that even though our region has been measles-free for several years, the fall-off in immunization is putting us at risk.
So, Shane, did he actually confirm that there is a spike in the disease globally?
Well, in the last year and a half or so, there's been an outbreak in the United States and Europe, originating in Washington, and that has spread as people moved across the country. And Lisa, what's sad is that some people developed complications that eventually led to death. Now, Dr. George spoke at length and with passion on the issue. Take a look at part of that exclusive interview.
These public health threats of our time, many of them can be stopped by simple measures like vaccination. We've gone too far to allow our vaccination programs to be threatened. So, for example, in Barbados, about 4 or 5 years ago, our vaccination levels within the public were close to 95%. And that has fallen to currently we are between 85 and 87%.
Why?
That's not good enough. The reason being is that there is a fear in the minds of many persons in the public that these vaccines are not good or have bad side effects.
So, what do people have to go on to back up these fears? Is there any evidence that
well, there was at one point in time there were some studies that have been put forward in the media that suggested that there might have been some untrue linkages with a few issues, for example, autism. These have never been proven, and people are willing to always believe in quote-unquote fake news.
And conspiracy.
So when you believe in fake news, you put your children at risk. So all I'm asking is that this is the opportune moment for Barbadians, for those who have not been immunized. Immunization against these types of diseases, we would not have felt that we needed to be addressing this in this century. But because of a small group of persons, they are putting the population at risk. So you have a small group of persons. We in public health use the term herd immunity because we say that if we vaccinate 95% of the population, that 5% is going to be protected just because the 95% can carry them. But when we start to fall below 95%, we are putting, those persons are putting the population at risk. So I am encouraging persons to, if your children have not been immunized against measles, they can go and have these immunizations done at any of our polyclinics. Many of our private sector doctors also assist us, so many of our pediatricians are on board with this approach. We have been on guard, and what we have done is we have stepped up our training for measles. So we recently had a 2-day course where persons are exposed into the rigors of identifying measles. Because, Shane, I don't know if you would know, many people or many practitioners might not have even seen a case of measles because it was something that we thought was eradicated.
That's what I was going to ask, because how do people, first of all, identify that they have measles? And then I was researching this for this interview. I understood it's very hard for some doctors to identify it in the early stages.
So we have what we do in public health is do syndromic surveillance. Any case of fever plus rash means action. So once you have fever and rash, we just use that as a broad basis for making sure that all our systems are alerted. So we have fever and rash surveillance. and that's how we are able to pick up these cases. We have good clinical teams who are very good at investigating each case, because once one individual has measles, you have to do contact tracing. So you have to do contact tracing for everybody in the household, everybody in the school, everybody in the workplace, every single person that individual became in contact with who has confirmed measles must be sought out. And that's the challenge. I'm just encouraging persons who have not been immunized to make sure that they let good sense prevail. I can vouch for the vaccinations where we get. All our vaccines are not sourced. We source our vaccines through the PAHO revolving fund. We only buy vaccines from PAHO. They have a rigorous mechanism to make sure that the vaccines are efficacious and of quality, and we believe in the source and quality of those vaccines.
Any cases here?
No, absolutely not. We have no cases in Barbados, and we're currently not investigating any cases in Barbados.
Okay, what about the region? Anything close to home?
Well, yes, there have been imported cases. I know of an imported case in Antigua. It was just an imported case, and they were able to isolate or ring fence that person from the population. Because, for example, if somebody in the household has measles, they should not leave the home, they can't go to school, you can't go to, that kind of stuff.
Well, Lisa, when I asked him how well Barbados was prepared to handle a measles outbreak, he admitted that we weren't at a stage yet to take on something of that magnitude. That's why the ministry is driving home the point to parents to take their children to get their vaccinations. It's back to you, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Shane, for that comprehensive report and telling us about the importance of getting vaccinated against measles. Well, a new 27-bed medical unit has been opened over at the psychiatric hospital. It cost just over $700,000 to renovate the building, which had to be gutted to make way for the new facility. Lisa Broom tells us more.
2 specialized isolation rooms for clients with infectious diseases and treatment areas all make up the new medical unit at the psychiatric hospital in Black Rock. Work started in 2017, according to Director David Leacock, and will make treating clients with acute medical conditions much easier.
For example, if we have a person who's experiencing a crisis as far as, let's say, a hypertensive crisis or experiencing severe diabetic complications, we may want to remove them from the general ward and actually manage them here. We're not obviously trying to replace QEH, because obviously if they have severe complications, we're still going to transfer them to QEH. But in some cases where we think we can't adequately manage them here in consultation with QEH, we prefer to manage them in this setting as opposed to managing them on, let's say, a larger ward where staff are being asked to do more for a greater number of persons.
Mr. Leacock says the opening of the new unit is not expected to put additional pressure on staff. He says some of the equipment needed is already on the premises.
We've also ordered a number of equipment as well to come on stream, including, let's say, ECG machines, defibrillators, the most up-to-date medical equipment we're trying to get on the site, so that, as Dr. Douglas mentioned earlier, we don't want to sometimes send persons to QEH for basic investigation we can do ourselves here. So we are going to try to do some point-of-care testing here first, and then if it gets beyond our might be transferred to QEH then.
Health and Wellness Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostick officially opened the unit. He described it as another step in the right direction for healthcare in Barbados.
Every building, every area that we've been able to refurbish or to modernize is a step closer to that quest of transforming the health services in Barbados. And that transformation is not only in terms of the delivery of service, but the infrastructure that is required to deliver that service. Because we have to keep trying to provide the very best, not only for the patients of these facilities, but for the staff, which is very, very important to me.
Lisa Broom, CBC News.
Well, even though the tipping fee to take waste into the mangrove landfill has been removed, some people have not gotten the message and are still dumping indiscriminately. This was clear as Long Beach Christchurch literally transformed into yet another illegal dumping ground. Look at the discovery, which was revealed on Morning Barbados by Carl Padmore, the public relations officer with the Sanitation Services Authority, via this cell phone video. Now, since the removal of the tipping fee, SSA teams have been finding even more illegal dumping grounds. The authority has been able to trace the origin of the garbage in some instances.
We have removed the tipping fee, But if you go through some gullies, you're still seeing the old fridge, the old stove, bed. And we're wondering what is happening. The areas in Bridgetown that every day we clean them, and you can find lumber, you can find old stoves, and because people are paying the vagrants and the paros money to go and dump. And then if you look through the garbage, we are finding names, so therefore we can find an old bill and we track it back to you. Oh, but I didn't tell him put it there. But why did you give him in the first place?
And we say hello now to our Lisa Broom in our social media corner to tell us what is trending. Good evening, Lisa.
Hi, good evening, Lisa. Thank you, and welcome to What's Trending. During this segment, we're going to take a look at what's popular or what's being widely discussed on social media here in Barbados and across the globe. So first up tonight is a topic that's unfortunately one that's been on the rise, and that's crime. Attorney General Dale Marshall remains confident that local authorities can deal with it, but Barbadians, apparently, they're not waiting. They want to take matters into their own hands literally, and they're trying to get gun licenses. However, judging from the response of our Facebook community, not many are in favor of more guns being in the hands of ordinary citizens. So take a look at these comments. Don Campbell, Dory Pye, and Barbara Taylor don't like the idea of more of these weapons in the hands of the average person. Kerry Tailsy A isn't confident that things will change, and Jesse Dean offers this solution, which involves focusing on young men and providing them with job opportunities.
Attorney General Dale Marshall wants priority given to murder cases. He says the Director of Public Prosecutions has been approached on this matter, and the AG's comments came during a Barbados Labour Party St. Joseph branch meeting last weekend.
Of any kind of criminal case that could be of greater priority than a murder case. There is no drug case that could be of greater priority than a murder case. There's no burglary, no rape. There's a reason why on our law, enforced our law, the punishment for murder has been capital punishment. So that alone would tell you that by our very statutes, we consider murder to be the most hideous of offenses. And there's really no justification for doing it.
The CARICOM Heads of Government 30th Intersessional meeting got underway today with a call for the region to work to reduce the level of violent crime across the 15-member grouping. The call was made by Chairman and Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Timothy Harris. He maintains that peace and tranquility must be preserved. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley is leading the island delegation at that two-day meeting. Enhancing regional air and maritime transportation and further advancing the CARICOM single market and economy are among the matters for deliberation. Dr. Harris notes that as small states, the region must be united on the global arena to advance and defend their interests.
As small states, it is our duty to stand together and advocate for the adherence to the principles espoused and codified in the international multilateral organizations and institutions. It is our only hope to stymie those who would conduct global affairs on the basis of might being right.
Meantime, CARICOM is maintaining its non-interventionist and non-interference stance to the ongoing political impasse in Venezuela. Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque says the community wants a peaceful resolution to that crisis.
We are acutely aware of the consequences of any alternative solution, and with our like-minded partners have stressed the need for an internal and meaningful dialogue without which the situation could become disastrous. The community maintains that the solution must come from among the Venezuelan people and abides by the internationally recognized and accepted principles of non-interference, non-intervention in the affairs of states, respect for sovereignty, adherence to the rule of law, and respect for human rights and democracy. And that principle of non-interference also applies as we confront a persistent threat to our efforts at development.
And Ambassador LaRocque also addressed the unrest in Haiti, stating it remains a cause for concern within CARICOM.
The deaths and violent confrontations that have marred protest actions are highly regrettable. The community reiterates its call for calm and a cessation of the violence and appeals to all involved to engage in constructive dialogue to respect the Constitution, the rule of law, and democratic processes so that issues can be resolved in a peaceful atmosphere and allow for the return to a state of normalcy. CARICOM stands ready to assist in any way possible to end the disturbances which are destabilizing the country.
And we welcome back our Lisa Broom now for more from our What's Trending segment. Lisa?
Hey, Lisa. Hello again. And we're going to continue our look at what's popular, being widely discussed on social media here and across the globe. So now it's on to a topic that means a lot to us here in Barbados. That's tourism. It's our main foreign exchange earner, and in recent years, tourism officials have been encouraging all Barbadians to get more involved. So in this next video, Chicago natives Scott and Sandra Moran recount how, after ending up at cricket without cash, one young lady helped change their experience from negative to absolutely positive. Take a look.
Young lady heard our issue, invited to help. She took us in and said, you know, please go to your seats and I'll see what I can do. She came back within a half an hour and said, let me, you know, this is not the Barbados that we want you to remember. Let me feed you, let me provide drinks for you, and I want you to enjoy the game like we enjoy it.
Well, many of our Facebook followers support that young lady's actions. The general message being sent is that tourism is our business and we should play our part. So kudos to her for helping those visitors have a good time. Now, if that cricket match they attended had been held a few decades ago, chances are West Indies great Sir Curtly Ambrose would have been on the field terrorizing batsmen with his fearsome fast bowling. But these days, fans are being treated to a different side of the cricketing legend as a contestant on the Australian edition of Dancing with the Stars. Now, Sir Curtly and his partner haven't really been doing all that well in the competition so far, so let's send him some luck. And maybe he can take a look at this video and be inspired by this St. Lucian policeman's smooth moves as he took part in their Independence Military Parade. I know that I said smooth moves earlier, and those weren't so smooth, but anyway, we'll move on from that. We're out of time in any case, and as always, we encourage you to visit our Instagram page at CBC News Barbados and our Facebook page at cbcnews.bb to share your comments and your views. But remember, please, there are public forums, so please keep your comments clean. And don't forget, if you have a fun or interesting picture or video to share, send it to us via WhatsApp to 233-7388 or 233-7555. There's also email, nca@cbc.bb. Pick of the day is your title, and it will give you a chance to be featured on our social media. So that's it for now for What's Trending. Lisa, a birdie told me that you can put that policeman to shame. What say you?
Lisa, you've seen me dance already. You know I haven't zero rhythm. Come on now. Come on now. Search your memory. You've seen me dance already.
If that's what you call dancing, no, I haven't.
Well, there you go. That's your answer. And now to that developing story at Britain's Hill, where a man was shot and killed. Our Ryan Broom has just returned from the scene and joins us live from the news center. Good evening, Ryan. What can you tell us?
Good evening, Lisa. Well, I just came back from Villa Road, Britain's Hill, where Inspector Rodney Innes, the police PRO, has confirmed that there was a police-involved shooting. Now, he said that police were involved in a shooting incident with two men. One of those men both of those men would have exchanged gunfire with the police. One of those men is now dead. They have not given this man's identity as yet or the age of this man. However, they're still looking for the second man who fled the scene. And that's where it is basically now. Their family members on the scene. The police doctor was on the scene a short while ago to confirm that death. And the investigations are continuing. As I said, they're looking for a second man who was involved in that incident.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for keeping us up to date with what is now a fatal shooting at Britain's Hill.